Hi. Well, I gave you an introduction to this week, and so part of what you're needing to practice and learn about are data types. And so, anyway, and properties. And I'm going to send me off to the side here for a second. And here is your document for the supplemental activity for data types under supplemental activities. And then here's the one for properties. And then this is a supporting database if you choose to use it, which you do not need to. It is not required. You do not have to hand it in. It's just if it's helpful for you. And then here's a final project proposal. That you'll be doing. And I'm just going to mention that the final project proposal is a proposal. It requires you to have some discussion and interaction between each other. And I think I said before, please make sure that you do get on board and post early in the week so you can have some interaction between each other to inspire each other. Anyway, so that's what I want to say about that. Now I want to move on to the topic of data types. And data types are pretty easy, so I'm going to switch over here to this database that I've got here. And I've got this table, TBL contacts. And so I'm going to right click and I'm going to go into design view of it. Okay, this is the design view. I can't show you the actual data, so I'll do it via design view. And you'll notice under data type, there are different data types in this particular table. There's a number of different kinds and that are being used. And you can click down and you can see all of the data types, which I imagine you probably are aware of. So your supplemental activity is just to practice and make sure that you know some of the details about each one of these data types, and also just understand each one and what it's for. So so that's data types. Not very long explanation. Next, I want to go on to properties. Now, when you're talking about the field properties, there are all sorts of properties in Access. Properties about forms and reports, just hundreds of them. But what we're talking about is field properties for in relation to table structure. And so, for example, we're looking here at this particular field. Printed is what it's called, and it's a yes, no field. And so it's a yes, no data type, I should say. So here's the field name, here is the data type. And if you come down here, you're looking at properties of this particular field. Now, if I were to click up here, you would see different set of properties down here. And again, if I clicked again, you see different properties. Okay? And hopefully you can blow this up on your screen because it is a bit small. So anyway, and the other thing that I want to point out to you that I've noticed is that when somebody talks about a property, they sometimes get the property setting confused with the property itself. Okay, so over here is the property, and these are the property settings. So you can have lots of different kinds of property settings. for example, if I go up here to state, I can have a property of default value, and the property setting is in double quotes CO, which means Colorado, of course. So the default for state is CO. And there are other property settings here. Required is no, allow zero length, yes. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about properties versus property settings. And one of the really common mistakes that people make is when they're using the input mask wizard or another wizard for coming up with the property settings. So I'm going to stop the tape for a minute so I can switch to another, I can find another table to demonstrate this for you. Okay, so here's a table, and it's a table for phone numbers. You can be like, table for phone numbers, that's weird, but you'll understand why that is when we talk about normalization. Anyway, so if you come here and click on the phone number itself, and you can see that there are properties that's associated with this phone number, and there are property settings associated. Well, there are property settings for the properties for this particular field. So here is a property input mask. What the input mask does is it makes it so it gives structure to being able to put in a phone number or other data. So for example, we may want to have our phone number so it starts with a left paren, and then maybe 303 right paren, space, 3 numbers, a dash, and 4 numbers, right? So it's just a way to filter out a whole bunch of options that the user could put in, and instead allow them to only enter certain things into the field. So the reason that I'm talking about this particular property is because students tend to write down the wrong answer for what the property setting is for the input mask as an example. So what you can do is start the wizard, and here's the wizard. And so what students do is they tend to say, oh, this must be the property setting for the phone number, or for an example, I should say, an example property setting for the input mask. And that is actually not true. So if we go to the next screen, or the next, we go hit next. Here's the actual input mask, okay? And so then we can just go like this, and then click on next, and finish. And now we've got the input mask there. And this, in fact, is the property setting for this particular input mask. There are all sorts of different input masks, and you can do some more research online to learn more about it. But and you can also do your properties online supplemental activity, and that will help you to get more clear about properties in general. Now, if there are more questions about properties, certainly email me, and if I need to, I'll certainly be glad to make another video, but I think probably this should be enough to help you get a good introduction to properties when it comes to tables and their fields in Access. So again, these are properties settings, and these are properties. Oh, there is one more thing I did want to say, is that the properties that are available to a particular field is dependent on the data type. So just want to make sure I say that too. Anyway, all right, I'm over 10 minutes, so you're probably snoring now. So have a good sleep. See you in the next video.